Welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are or how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. As for what we're getting into on the program here today, Niners winners and losers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know that Brandon Aiyuk was balling out. Let's go, Brandon. But there's a reason why this player right here is getting kicked in the chin by Brandon Aiyuk, because yesterday he was kicked in the chin by TJ Watt. Before we get started, today's burning question, in which I want to hear from you down in the comments section, is this: who is your biggest winner and who is your biggest loser against the Steelers on Sunday? Drop me a name down below in the comment section. We start off with our Niners winners, because San Francisco with a dominant performance against the Steelers. How can you not be positive and go glass half full here? Drake Jackson was straight up sensational against Pittsburgh. Really liked the way that he came out. He heard everybody out there saying, John Lynch, you cleared up $41.5 million. San Francisco has the most cap space by far in the NFL. Why don't you trade for Brian Burns? Well, Drake Jackson said to the entire faithful, to the entire organization, you know what? There's a reason why you took me in the second round 2 drafts ago. 3 sacks. That matched his total from his entire rookie campaign. He ran out of energy at the end of his first year last year. That's why he was inactive for several games to end the season. He didn't run out of energy yesterday. A lot of hurries, very active, 5 pressures, and an overall Pro Football Focus grade of 82.3. All offseason, we've talked about the fact that Drake Jackson and Clelin Ferrell need to give Nick Bosa some help on the other side of that defensive line of scrimmage, because Nick Bosa can't afford to get double-teamed time and time again. And if he does, you have to take advantage of those one-on-one opportunities. Drake Jackson did that. It was also a byproduct of the interior defensive linemen for the Niners playing really well, as Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave had a couple of hockey assists, but still, Drake Jackson, loved what I saw in week 1. Winner number 2, Brock Purdy. He is now 8-0 in games that he has started and finished in the National Football League, and he's putting together a pretty historic start to begin his NFL career. How about this from Adam Schefter? Brock Purdy, first quarterback in NFL history to win each of his first 6 career regular season starts and throw at least 2 touchdown passes in each of those starts. Purdy also is the first quarterback in NFL history with a passer rating of 95 or higher in each of his first 6 career regular season starts. There are a lot of people out there who want to say, Brock Purdy can't throw it. He's a dink and dunk passer. He's proving that he can carry the load for Kyle Shanahan's offense, and he can get the job done with this aerial attack. 19-29 against Pittsburgh. The Steelers enter the season with the expectation that they're going to have a really, really good season. 220 yards for Purdy, 7.5 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Led the NFL in quarterback rating at 111.3 going into Monday Night Football. And we'll, of course, see what Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers can do in primetime on Monday night to round out week 1. What I also really like about what Purdy was able to accomplish is how he was able to spread the football around. And he was able to throw different passes at different levels vertically, first level, intermediate level, some of those long balls, but also spread the football around from sideline to sideline. You look at his spray chart with where he was able to disperse the football, and you see those short, intermediate, and long routes, and then a couple of those long plays. None better than this throw to Brandon Aiyuk from 19 yards out for his second touchdown of the day. A great back shoulder ball in which he threw it with touch, anticipation, accuracy. Sometimes you have to throw those 50-50 balls, let your guy go get it. Brandon Aiyuk was able to do that, and it was even better that he did it against Patrick Peterson. Purdy among all quarterbacks in week 1 going into Monday Night Football, number 1 in QBR, number 3 in passer rating, number 6 in EPA per play. That's expected points added per play. That is the WAR version of football, pretty much. Wins above replacement. Translation, Purdy was pretty damn good against a defense that a lot of people expect to be one of the best in the NFL. Winner number 3. Let's give credit where credit is due. Clelin Ferrell. He was one of the defensive ends among the bevy of defensive linemen who played really well against the Pittsburgh Steelers and dominated that Steelers offensive line. Now, the Steelers offensive line does have a lot of questions, but Clelin Ferrell in his career has been a big question. But this is the latest Chris Kosarik project, and I literally called it at the time. Chris Kosarik's been able to maximize so many defensive linemen throughout his career, especially some of these cast-offs, like Charles Omenihu, or Arden Key, or Kerry Hyder Jr. Clelin Ferrell is the next iteration of that. And in his debut with the Niners, I tweeted this out on Twitter or X. Give me a follow at Chase_Senior. 2 quarterback pressures, 2 quarterback hits, 2 tackles, 2 stops, and a Pro Football Focus grade of 84.5. And the best news about this is the Raiders' trash has turned into the Niners' gold. No pun intended, but kind of pun intended. Winner number 4, Christian McCaffrey. Best back in the NFL in week 1. Did it through the air, but mostly this was a game in which the identity of it for Christian McCaffrey was him running the football. 22 carries for 152 yards. That led all RBs in yards rushing in week 1. Yards per carry, very good tally at 6.9. Very nice. 1 touchdown. It spanned 65 yards, and that touchdown run, as good as it gets. The spin move and how quickly he was able to spin off that defender and the elusiveness on that run, but also the power, breaking tackles, the getaway speed, the patience, the vision, all of that is what makes Christian McCaffrey a really special player. And then the deep dive analytics, 125 yards after contact, 5.68 yards after contact per carry. Are you kidding me? 5 missed tackles forced. And then he also faced an 8-man box at a rate of 68% on his carries. That was the highest among all running backs in the NFL, and then led running backs in rushing yards with 152, as I mentioned, and then led all running backs in rushing yards over expected at 56. This has turned into quite a maneuver for the San Francisco front office to get him a couple of weeks ahead of the NFL trade deadline last offseason because he's one of the best all-around playmakers in the NFL. More winners coming up. More losers coming up. First, though, I'm going to challenge the faithful down here in the comment section. Does this guy look familiar here to my right? That's Jerry Rice. I want to challenge you. Where did Jerry Rice go to college? Let me know down in the comment section. Let's see how many of you are right. And at some point on today's show, we're going to reveal that answer. Don't cheat or I'll call your ass out. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. We're really elated here at Chat Sports, and I'm excited to welcome on Game Time as a sponsor of the 49ers Report to see this channel grow to the point where we're at 87,000 subscribers. It wouldn't be possible without all of your support, and these new sponsors and great sponsors wouldn't support us if it wasn't for you making the 49ers Report one of the most watched Niners channels on YouTube. We're already the largest independently run Niners channel here on YouTube. And a lot of you out there are sports fans, right? This is the only ticket app that you should be using. And if you're looking for last-minute tickets, we can allow you to save some money and get your hands on those to see the Niners, see a music show, or even a comedy show. $20 off using the promo code NinersChat. We're talking best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. They have these flash deals where they really specialize in offering you great price points as the event gets closer. The 49ers schedule, you can find tickets to road games and home games as well. You see the prices listed. What I also love is the user interface with this app. You can pay with Venmo, you can pay with your credit card, but you can also see where you're going to sit and the vantage point from some of those seats. The section and the row is included. The Niners have their season opener, week 3 against the New York Giants at Levi Stadium. There are still tickets available. If you want to sit section 405, row 23, you see how much it costs. Less than $90 per ticket for the Niners season opener on this app only, but you also get to see what the view is from where you sit. And like I said, promo code NinersChat. Promo code NinersChat for you to save $20 off your purchase. We'll put that link in the comment section as well as in the description of this video. Another winner I want to talk about, let's go Brendel. Brandon Aiyuk really turned a lot of heads in the Steel City, and people are finally realizing just how special of a player BA is. 8 targets, 8 catches. What that means is, for those of you who don't know, anytime Brock Purdy threw him the football, he caught it. Brock Purdy had a perfect passer rating when targeting Brandon Aiyuk, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, and both of those tutties came against Patrick Peterson after Peterson guaranteed that he was going to intercept Brock Purdy. How about them apples? Aiyuk's PFF grades in week 1 among all wide receivers. Number 2 in Pro Football Focus's wide receiver overall grade category, atop the list among all wide receivers in Pro Football Focus's wide receiving grade. Brandon Aiyuk, he was awesome last year. Every year that he's been in the NFL, he's gotten better and better and better. And going into year 4, the ascent continues for number 11. Also impressive in this game, let's give credit where credit is due. Charvarius Ward had that early interception on Kenny Pickett that led to some Niners points. I believe that he still continues to be underrated as a very solid cornerback at CB1. Jake Moody, perfect on all of his field goals after a very rocky and rough preseason. 3 of 3 on those field goal opportunities, also perfect on his PATs. Fred Warner batted away that Kenny Pickett pass that went into the awaiting arms of Talanoa Hufanga, and Fred Warner, his presence over the middle of the field just makes quarterbacks quake in their boots, and then Hufanga laid the big hit on Pat Freiermuth to dislodge the football on that touchdown, made a couple of good plays against the run, a couple of good plays at that second and third level of the defense, and had that aforementioned interception. With that, it was kind of hard, not hard, but the Niners were so good against Pittsburgh where I'm thinking about putting this segment together, and I'm like, there's so many winners from this game because San Francisco is so good and so dominant. There aren't many losers, right? There are 2 that I want to talk about here, and both of them are on the right side of the offensive line. An area on this team, in particular, the right side of the offensive line that we've been talking about for months here on this show as the biggest concern on this football team. Colton McKivitz as the right tackle, Spencer Burford as the right guard. McKivitz got beat over and over again by TJ Watt. Spencer Burford got beat and committed a couple of penalties. And for this Niners offensive line, you take a gander at the pressures allowed against what is a very, very good Steelers defensive line. Colton McKivitz gave up 5 pressures on 34 total snaps. Those are the numbers in the parentheses, by the way. Spencer Burford gave up 4 pressures on those 34 snaps. Jake Brendel with 3. Trent Williams with 2, and Aaron Beggs a clean sheet. No pressures allowed. So that's 9, 12, 15 total pressures for this Niners offensive line. 9 of those 15 came from the right side of this offensive line. Spencer Burford, right guard, and Colton McKivitz at right tackle. And we talked about this going into the game. It was one of the biggest matchups to look out for. TJ Watt against Brock Purdy. Against Colton McKivitz, and that allowed him to get to Brock Purdy, I should say. And TJ Watt had himself a hell of a day. 3 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 5 quarterback hits, and a Pro Football Focus grade of 94.4. Brock Purdy looks to be a very talented quarterback, and it looks as though Brock Purdy might end up being Kyle Shanahan's next Kirk Cousins, the guy that he believes can be the dude in running his offense. But Brock Purdy is not going to be able to stay upright if he's getting plastered and crushed and hit and annihilated by some of the best edge rushers in the National Football League, if that right side of the offensive line cannot hold up in protection. And this just kind of crossed my mind, right? You look at this Niners schedule, and you look at some of the defensive linemen and edge rushers that they are going to face. Aaron Donald's going to be lined up against Spencer Burford. I can guarantee you that. You have to go up against Kayvon Thibodeau and Isaiah Simmons the following week in the New York Giants. Dallas Cowboys, you have Micah Parsons. Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett. Minnesota Vikings, Danielle Hunter. Bengals have a good defensive line. Trey Hendrickson, a very good player. Jaguars have a really good defensive line. The Buccaneers have some solid edge rushers. We know what Seattle can do always on the defensive side of the football. The Philadelphia Eagles have Hassan Reddick. You take on the Seahawks again, Cardinals again. Ravens have a good defense. Commanders, they have Chase Young and Montez Sweat if they're able to ever stay healthy. And then the Rams again. You have to shore up the right side of this offensive line because if Brock Purdy gets injured, I don't have a lot of faith that Sam Darnold can win a lot of games if he has to be the long-term starter for this football team. So once again, you circle back to our earlier poll question today. If you didn't answer it then, make sure you answer it now. Your biggest winner and loser against the Pittsburgh Steelers is who? Drop me those names down below in the comments section. And here is the answer to that challenge and that question a little bit earlier. Where did Jerry Rice go to college? The answer, Mississippi Valley State University. Not a lot of people realized at the time that Jerry Rice was going to end up from Mississippi Valley State to Canton and become the GOAT of all wide receivers in the history of the NFL. But number 80 was damn special.